Hi there, this is Ronnie coming at you with a video. Um, Last weekend, I was up visiting my daughter in Orkney. Had a very nice time. We played a lot of card games and dice games and so on. Was introducing her to a few games. Um, Getting beaten most of the time. She's a very good player. So yeah, introduced her to a lot of games that I subsequently got beaten at. But her boyfriend Jamie uh, really likes pirates, and we were talking about sort of pirate things because we were listening to some tracks. He has some tracks from the band Ailstorm, who, if anyone hasn't heard of them, they are a heavy metal band that sing songs about pirates and sing them, as if they're a pirate crew. Lots of scraggly, and lots of R's. And they're a lot of fun. It's nice tongue in cheek, but it's tongue in cheek with some really good musicianship. Can't knock the musicianship; it's wonderful. And talking about it and sort of thinking about it and so on has really got me in the mood for maybe running a pirate game. Maybe. I'm enthused to kind of do it, which has me thinking, what kind of game do I want to run? And what I mean is this: I could run something that is a straight up sort of simulation. Life as it was on the Spanish Main during the sort of classic sort of period of piracy in the sort of 1700s, and that appeals to me. But um, I don't think it would be the best option. The next one is to do something cinematic, but without sort of fantasy or supernatural elements. Cinematic in the sort of Errol Flynn, Cutthroat Island, Treasure Island sort of feel to it, where it's sort of boys' own adventure, lots of sword fights and daring do, and that sort of romanticized, I guess, view of pirates, um, which informs so much of people. Plus, I used to play a game back in the 80s. I have it on an emulator now called Pirates by Sid Meier's that was released by Macroprose. I had it for the Amiga. I know there was an Atari ST and a PC version, Commodore 64, but yeah, it's an interesting idea to do it that way. And then of course there is doing pirates with sort of fantasy or supernatural elements. Um, Very much in the style of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies or Secret of Monkey Island series of computer games. I'm torn between the sort of romanticized swashbuckler and the fantasy version. Um, and because I was talking to Saffron, that's my daughter, and if you're watching, Saffron, hello. Um, and I'm talking. I'm torn between the romanticized and the fantasy, because the next part is, what system do I use? I do have what would be described as a sort of straight up system, which I got from Drive-Thru RPG many years ago, called Privateers and Pirates. Um, that's one possible way of doing it. if I'm going for the romanticized version. The other one, there is a sort of guide to pirates that you can get for the Savage Worlds system. And given I'm using a lot of Savage Worlds at the moment, that seems a better fit. So it might be that way if I go with that. When it comes to fantastical elements, I sort of have a bigger sort of pool, if you like. Immediately comes Pirates of the Spanish Main, which is Savage Worlds, but it's a standalone game. That is, the rules are actually in the rulebook rather than it just being a campaign setting that requires the Savage Worlds core rulebook. Everything's in the one book. And that has been clearly influenced by Pirates of the Caribbean. Scratch the serial numbers off just to avoid the lawyers, but it's clearly influenced by it. But if I'm going down that road where I'm doing a sort of romanticized, sort of fantastical idea, I would be more than inclined to use something like Castle Falkenstein. Or indeed set it in space. A friend of mine, Stephen, is talking about running Elite Dangerous on Roll20, the tabletop RPG, obviously influenced by the Elite series of video games. Where obviously part of that was you could be as a pilot, you could be a trader, you could be a bounty hunter, you could be a pirate. But I'm intrigued at the notion of sort of, if I'm going to do fantasy, then I've got lots of options. I mean, years and years and years ago, I did have a game called Run Out the Guns, which was done by Iron Crown Enterprises and shared obviously a lot of the house system, which people knew from things like Rollmaster and Spacemaster and MERP and so on. And because I wasn't particularly knowledgeable about nautical terms, I couldn't get my head around the rules, and I never used them. I could probably sort of fudge it. Sorry, it's kind of late on here as I'm filming this, so I'm yawning a little. I do apologise. Ailstorm have me influenced. Talking to Saffron and talking about Jamie's love of pirates has me sort of inspired to maybe do a pirate game. I don't think it would be a sort of historical simulation. I don't see the point in it. It's an option, but I don't think it would work. So I'm kind of jumping between swashbuckler or fantasy elements, and if I run with the fantastical, it would probably be Castle Falkenstein, to be honest, because let's be honest, any excuse to use Castle Falkenstein is a good excuse for me. So I'd end up doing it. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out. It's a thought that I'm having since I got back from Orkney. So that's just a video from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video.